Okay, we're going through the five Inuyim on that on Yom Kippur. Achila, Shtia, Nila Sasandal. And we said that we learned out that you can't wear shoes. Basically, Yochef means, from David HaMelech, means without shoes, period. So we said that you would go through water. You can go through to see a Rebbe for Bar Mitzvah. We said in the Bar Rishus to get Paris. You're able to walk through water. But Schita didn't seem to be a problem. Kibbutz didn't seem to be a problem. Tosis Yishan discusses that. So what about Shabbos? Now, Shabbos, you are wearing shoes. Are you able to walk through water on Shabbos, right? Or are we concerned that your shoes will come off and you may have to carry them? Remember that carrying Dalet Amos Rishus Rabbin we saw as a big problem, and they were guys with tremendous gezeres. We went to a lulav, Megillah, it's not like a Shabbos for the reason simply you may come to go to a mumcha to learn to do it. You may come to carry. So you saw this dinner of Havar of Dalet Amos to be a very sincere, serious concern. So we're up to Ayin Chesam at Aleph. Ayin Chesam at Aleph. The my Gemara, the last in line. The last in line, right after the parentheses. Shabbos de'ika minol mai. Shabbos where there is a minol, Shabbos where there's you have shoes on. Is there a concern again? Can you walk through water to see a Rebbe or for the to watch your Paris? Nehemiah, Nehemiah Chasnei de Ben Nasiya says Nehemiah, the son-in-law of the Nasi. Anocha zisi Ravami Ravasi. I observe Ravami Ravasi. The matu urkuma demaya. They came to an urkuma demaya. They came to a pool of water on Shabbos for avru derech malbush, and they went through derech malbush. They went through derech malbush, meaning they walked with their shoes on. Teinach minol sandal mayiklamei. That's very good mindol. Minol is usually a very tight-fitting shoe. A sandal, which is a loose-fitting shoe, what would the din be? In other words, good, I can say that you can walk through a water on Shabbos wearing a shoe that you're not concerned it's going to come off, but a sandal that you are concerned may come off, what's the din? So Rav Ashi Yoma, sandal l'chatchila loy. Sandal l'chatchila you shouldn't. Sandal l'chatchila you should do it. Veshkalusa iklo lahagrunya. Veshkalusa came to the town of Agrunya, the Bay of Nasan. Rafram Kul Rabbanan Asal Pirka. Rafram and all the Rabbanan, they came to the Perik of the Reish Galusa. They came to the Perik of the Reish Galusa, they came to the Shir, and Ravina Layasa. Ravina did not come to the Shir. Lamacha boy Rafram, Lafuki Lavina Vidai to the Reish Galusa. Rafram wanted to go ahead, and if there was perhaps any anger of the Reish Galusa towards Ravina for failing to come to the Shir, he wanted to go ahead and get rid of that. So what did he do? I guess he said, Amalei, he said in front of the Reish Galusa to Ravina, my time Eliasi Mar Lepirka. Why did Rafram not come to the Shir? Why did Ravina not come to the Shir? So Ravina told Rafram, Havikovli Kare, I had pain in my knees. He boiled in the Mesa Misanish, she should have put on shoes. Says Magabad the Kari Have, I have a bad, it's pain, it's a pain there, it's a pain to put on the shoe. So he boiled the Mirma Sandala, he should have put on a loose fitting shoe, which wouldn't have been such a pain. So Ravina said, Urkamid Demaya have a borcha. There was an Urkamid Demaya, there was a pool of water. So therefore I couldn't come across. So Rafram said to Ravina, derech malbush. So you should have walked across, derech malbush while you're wearing clothing. Said Ravina to Rafram, you do not hold sandal that a sandal that's loose fitting on Shabbos, you should not walk through because it's concerned you may come to take it off. Tani Yehuda bar Groigris, very interesting name. Yehuda bar Groigris, also Yashiv Agabetina of Yom Kippur. Now we said you can't wash because of Tanuk. That's what we said when it comes to the Melech or when it comes to the Kalo, when it comes to the Yoledes, you are able to wash because that's not Derech Tanuk, that's to look good. The king should look good, the Kalo should look good, and if Pashif, it's a refuah for what? For the Yoledes. It's not for Tanuk. The whole issue is one of Tanuk. So what about Tina? Something cold. You're going to go ahead and put something cold that you should cool off. Again, it's a hot climate in Bavel. Sabra Yeshua ben Levi, ubetina mitbachas. Provided What this tina that is asa is only if it's wet. Only if it's wet. If it's cold and dry, it will be okay. Amar Abaya, who would taipeach almanaslat piach, and provided that that it's wet enough to transfer the wet. It's wet enough to go ahead and transfer the wet. In other words, this moisture will go ahead and transfer the moisture to something else. That's the degree of moisture. Amar Yehuda, mutter litztaning beperis. It's mutter to cool yourself off with peris on Yom Kippur. Rabbi Yehuda mitztaning bekara. He would use a squash. A cold squash would do the job. Let's change the gear. So Rava mitztaning biyanuka. Rava, he would go ahead and he would. They say smooth cold baby. He would go ahead and put a baby's skin, baby skin. He would go ahead and use that as a cooling agent. And Rabba mitztaning bekasa de kaspa. Rabba, he would use a silver cup, a silver cup. He would use to cool himself off. And we're going to go ahead now and give a few addendums to what kind of silver cup are we speaking about. So Amar Rav Papa says Rav Papa is kisa de kaspa malay aser. If it's a full silver cup, it's aser because we're worried that the water will go ahead and spill out, and it will go ahead and you'll be over on rechitza. Chasra shari masha'enkein. If the cup of silver is missing and there's no concern that it's going to spill out, then the coolness permeating through the cup would be acceptable on Yom Kippur. However, the pachra, if it's a klicheres, idi asar, whether it's full of water or not full of water, that will be asar. Mishum the mishchal shachel, because it seeps through. In other words, it seems to be that the earthenware, it seeps through. By silver, it'll contain it within. Over here, it's going to seep through, and you're going to get wet. And since you're going to go wet, that will be al stadug, and that will be over the isser of a chitzur on Yom Kippur.
So has condensation on the outside.
I guess that's not enough. We're not worried that whatever that is. These are the Rabbanans, yes. These are all the Rabbanans. The whole isser of chitza could be the Rabbanan. We're not sure. Again, there's a sheet. It's really a first place you should shut him in the perek. We know that achila and shtia are the ones that are the raisa. Chitza, sicha, hashur shamita, nilas sandal. Those are all the Rabbanan. The Rabbanan. And if it's the raisa, it's only mishum tanug over here. Certainly, you're not. It's tanug over here. It's all the Rabbanan gezeres. Okay, consider. And Rav Ashi says, Kisa de Kaspa Chaser Nami Aser. He says it's completely Aser, whether it's Malay or Chaser. You're not worried about it spilling. This is Mishum de Mizdaris. It might slip and spill on you. A cold silver cup might be slippery and therefore might spill on you, and you have the problem of Rechitza. Zeiru Bar Chama Ushpezichna. He happened to be the host of Rav Ami, Rav Asi, Rabbi Yeshua, and Levi, the Kular Bar and the Kisari. Not that they were staying there, right? Not that they were staying there, but he was the host. People would come, Rav Ami, Rav Asi, Rabbi Yeshua, and Levi, all the Rabban and Kisari. They would go ahead and they would stay by this person, Zira Bar Chama. So Amalei Rav Yosef, Brei Rav Yeshua, and Levi. One time, Rav Yosef, the son of Yeshua and Levi, was there, and Zira Bar Chama told him, Baruraya, son of Torah, I will tell you, I'll tell you a very good thing that your father did. After all, Yeshua and Levi was accustomed to stay there, so he's telling Yosef, his son, things that his father did. He goes, Be'erev Yom Kippur, on Erev Yom Kippur, Mitbachas Hoyloi, he had a towel, and Be'erev Yom Kippurim, B'shoyroi Sabamayim, he would soak it in water. He would soak it in water. For Oisa Asa Kimin Kalim, Neguvim, he then would wring it out Erev Yom Kippur like a dry towel. Ulamachar, and the next day, Mekaneach by Panav Yadav Raglav. He says Isser of a chitza, but he would go ahead and use this probably still moist towel to go ahead and wipe his face and his hands and his feet. Erev Tisha B'Av, Shoyroi Sabamayim, he would soak it in water and not wring it out. Ulamachar Mavir al Gabi Einov, and the next day he would pass it over his eyes. So you see, Yom Kippur is more stringent than Tisha B'Av. In addition, Kiyasa Rabbi Marmari, Amar said the same thing about he did the same thing as the custom of Rishon and Levi. Be'erev Tisha B'Av, he just said the reverse order. Be'erev Tisha B'Av Mavi'im Mitbachas T'Shoyer Sam B'Mayim, Manicha Oisa Tachtim Rishon, he put it on his head. U'Lamakam Echaneach Panav Yadav Raglav, he would use it to wipe his hands, his face, and his feet. Be'erev Yom Kippurim, however, on Yom Kippur, Mavi'im Mitbachas T'Shoyer Sam B'Mayim, Va'oisai saw come in kalim the guvim, he'd wring it out till it's like a dry kalim. Ulamachar, and the next day, ma'avira al gabe einov, he would go ahead and pass it over his eyes. And okay, so that's basically the same thing. They just reverse the order between of Yom Kippur and the Tishba. I learned the opposite, meaning the opposite, that on Yom Kippur they would keep it wet, and on Tisha B'Av they would wring it out. And v'oisivnach schita. And we asked schita, how can you go ahead and use a wet towel on Yom Kippur? You'd have a problem of schita. Amar Rav Menashe bar Tachlifa, Amar Rav Amram, Amar Rabba Rav Chana, Sholuas Rav Eliezer Zakin, v'Yoshe b'Yeshiva, Tzarech Litul b'Shus Lahat b'Char Yisrael. So smack in the middle of Tisha B'Av, you're discussing Yom Kippur. It's all smack in the middle of everything. Comes the Gemara and brings halacha b'char, kedarka b'kodesh. Okay, now what's the by b'char, guys? Let's play. What do we know about b'char? It's a firstborn. Excellent. Now, Kalman HaKoyin, what do you do with a b'char? What do I do with it? I can't eat it. Who eats it? Okay, I can I eat it with you?
Yes.
Yes, I absolutely can eat it with you. Yes, Mendy, I can eat it with you. Where do we have to eat it? Where? Nowhere. No. That's me. Shalayim. It's a carbon. Yeah, it's a carbon. Now, when can you eat it anywhere? If it gets a mum. A b'char with a mum is a great thing, right? It becomes your backyard barbecue. That's what you don't have to go schlep it to Yerushalayim. You don't have to worry about working it, using it. It's a win-win, right? So in order to go ahead and matar b'char, you needed to ask reshus from the nasi. In other words, the nasi had the power. Question: let's say you're a member of the bezdin. Let's say you're a member of the bezdin. Can you go ahead and matar b'char without asking the nasi? Good. Says the Gemara. Why is this brought in? Is because there are going to be two shilas, and the second shilah is going to be a shilah about a sandal. So this is brought in agav the other thing, but we just have to know that information. Says the Gemara. So Nachama. Shalu Elazar Zakin Yoshev Yeshiva Sarach Zakin Elazar Kama Zakin Yoshev Yeshiva Sarach Little V'Shus Lahati B'Charis Ein Etzarach. Does he have to ask V'Shus Menasi or not? So it's going. My kami boilahu. Hachi kami boilahu. Ki hodam Rav Idi bar Oven. Davazeh Nichol Lehem LeBein Nasiya. We left this matter to Bein Nasi because they list guided by for Gedula. Now they used to have a similar idea. The shaykhid always would go to the dayan in the city to go ahead and show him the chalaf. He could be the biggest bucky in the world, but he would go and he would show it to him, right? He would show it to him. So same thing over here. Is an Indian of Gedula and nothing to do with knowledge. It's an Indian of Gedula. We give cover to the nasi and you have this rishus, right? Or maybe since Fart he's a member of Sanhedrin, or in this case, Zakim V'Yoshev Yeshiva, so maybe he doesn't have to ask. So Rav Tzadik ben Chaluka, very interesting name. Rav Tzadik ben Chaluka al Raglav Amar Aniri, he got up and said, Aniri as Rav Yosef ben Zimra, Shezakim V'Yoshev Yeshiva. He was a Zakim V'Yoshev Yeshiva. But Amad ben Maila Zikna Shalzeh V'Natul Rishus Lahat B'Charis. And he went and he asked. So L'Chayra, if he posted the Shaila that is Zakim V'Yoshev, he can go. He has to ask what? He has to ask Rishus from the Nasi. Amar Rav Abba, look Kachoy Maisa. That's not exactly what happened. El Kachoy Maisa. Here's the Maisa. Guys outside before. Chaim and Mendy, if they get a Bechar, they're not believed to say that if a mum happened to fall into that Bechar. We don't trust them. We don't trust them. We're choshid, it's such a pain to bring that Bechar to Yerushalayim that Ken Zayin, they did some hanky-panky to that it should get, okay. Question, can Mendy testify in Chaim's Bechar? Can Chaim testify in Mendy's Bechar? It's machlokes, Mendy. It's machlokes. Now, if that was the question, was this has no bearing whatsoever on a nasi matering b'char. It has to do with the machlokes about. So that's what the Gemara says. So Rabbi says, "Lo kachoya ma'isa." That wasn't the ma'isa that it was a nasi. El kachoya ma'isa. Rabbi Yossi ben Zimra koyin hoya. Rabbi Yossi ben Zimra was a koyin. V'hachi kami boileg. Halacha krev meya. The Omar hachoyshi bedav leidanav le'meidai. He can't Someone's chayshit, he can't judge it and he can't testify, so he's out. He's believed on his friend. They were that one kohen is believed on another kohen, but it had nothing to do with asking reshus from the Nasiya. It was a whole different shaila in Bechar. Itaka was a shaila in Bechar, but not the shaila that you thought it was. It had nothing to do with a zaken and Yoshev Beroish asking whether what you can or not. It was a shaila whether do we trust another kohen to be made another kohen, and the answer was yes, we do. Now, why do we bring this in? For this, Visu komi bailahu mahu lotzeis pesand alamid bay shel sha'am b'yom kippurim. Now, guys, where do we learn out the whole inyan of Nilas HaSandal? Where do we learn it out from? It bears looking at it again. We learned it out from David HaMelech. We learned it out from David on if David says the following, guys. It says on Ayin Zayin Amid Aleph. It says the David oile b'mayla hazeisim oilu boiche roish v'roish leichafui David. And when he's running from Avshalom, he's going up a mountain. His head is covered. Yachef, and he's Yachef. What? How do you know? How do you know? As I state in scroll. No. As I state. Yeah, as I state. Now Yachef, memai lav me nilas sandal. Lav me no misusya umekato. Maybe he's free of his horse. We said right. Elam Rav Yasim Mechacha leichu besachta asach me'al masnecha ve'alecha tachlas me'araglecha, and it go down. Mini raglech miyachef v'groincha mitzama. Withhold your regel from miyachef v'groincha mitzama. And that's it. In other words, from here we're saying yachef means barefoot. So Hesh, you're right, but this is how you derive it. So if this is the source for Nilas HaSandal, guys, you should not be wearing any shoe whatsoever on Yom Kippur. Yachef means barefoot. Yeah. So I'm saying, so why do we wear anything? Yeah, why do we wear anything? So this is the sugya. This is the sugya. Why we wear anything? The limud is yachef means you shouldn't wear anything. You shouldn't wear anything, right? Yeah, we all have clogs, not clogs, cracks. Yeah, Yoshev or Shaila. Yeah. Anyway, so here's the Shaila. They asked from they asked the following. Ma'ulot says besandal shel sha'am b'yom kippurim. That's the sham min guma. It's a type of gum based. What do we call rubber, or some type of plant? You have a shoe made of a plant. Can you wear that on Yom Kippur? So Amar Rabbi Yitzchak bar Nachmani stood up. Rabbi Yitzchak Nachmani al Raglov. The Amar Ani Reisi. I saw. That's Yeshua ben Levi. It's Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi day. I saw Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. Sheyatza besandal shel sha'am b'yom kippur. I saw Yeshua ben Levi. He went out with a sandal of Shama Yom Kippur. And I asked them, "B'tainis sibur mai? What about a tainis sibur? Meaning not the tainis sibur, our tainis sibur, the 5. The tainis sibur, the tainis that they misana for rain, right? Amalei leishna, there's no difference. Okay, I have a mean guys that tainis sibur is more chomer than Yom Kippur. Yeah, you hear this? Yeah, guys. Yom Kippur, yeah. Now he asked what? And what about tainis sibur for rain? So you see from the Gemara they held in Mochama, yeah? What's the svara? A person on Yom Kippur, this is Mrei Misada, this is the Nitzif. A person on Yom Kippur, he's going to shul. He's going out. He's going to be walking, right? And he's going to be davening. He has to have something on his feet when he's walking to shul. By the time it's tzibur, where is he? He's in his house. He's in his house. Ken Zayin Ma'at. He has to be yochef. He has to be barefoot, right? So that's why it would be different. It's smara. It's not a severity, guys. It's not a severity in Tainis Tzibur of Yom Kippur. It's a din in minel. In other words, guys, this is not considered a shoe. You know what's the lumdus over here? In English, what do we say? You have to move on. I try to look at you when you're hiding. You're not doing anything wrong. You don't have to hide. It's not yeshiva. Huh? There's Yehuda we have hidden. Guys, here's the lumdus. Listen up. When we say barefoot, what do we mean? Nothing on our foot, right? That's an English translation. What's a mulumdiship shot? Das heitish kein shoe. It's not a shoe. In other words, that's lumdus. In other words, you're not allowed to wear a shoe, correct? So what's the sham? The sandal shel sham in Yiddish, das is nicht kein shoe. You are barefoot. You're yachif. That's pshat. You're yachif. So to what extent? Do we say it only by Yom Kippur, or no? Do we extend it even to what? To Tainis Tiva? That would be a nice hezbollah to Gemara. That'd be a nice hezbollah. Good, very good. Says the Gemara. They have to be. They have to have. That's a different chatzitza. That's a different halacha. That's a different halacha. No. That's no. It's chatzitza. It's a chatzitza. Okay, so now says the Gemara. So Amar Rabbi Chana Ani Reisi as Rabbi Lazar the Ninvei Sheyatza B'San L'Shel Sham B'Tanis Tiba V'Amin Alei B'Yom Kippur Mai Alei Leishna. So in other words, we have psak, guys, and this is our heta, fellas, and this is our heta, and this is our heta, and this is the heta. Yeah, again, and you have to say it's not a shoe, and that would be psak.
What is sham?
What?
What is sham?
Sham is Rashi says is some type of gumi. It's a rubber plant, something like that. But again, it's what we would call a sneaker, or something, anything that's not leather. And this shoes are made of leather. But again, that would be. I think it's a nice hezber to the Holinia. Rav Yehuda Nafik b'dehitni. Again, there's another. These are different Amoraim who went out with different substances. He went out with shoes made of reeds. Abaye Nafik b'dehutzi. He went with what made from palm trees. Rava Nafik b'dekule or b'divli, grass. Rabba Rav Huna karach sudra akare. He wrapped kerchiefs, handkerchiefs around his feet. V'nafik, and he went out. So again, this is and it makes sense. They're not shoes. In other words, we're viewing a sandal made of sham. It doesn't. You know what it means? It means there was some type of. I don't know what it looked like. It wasn't. There's no. They're not selling it in Buster Brown. Buster Brown, guys. What? Remember that? A picture of a dog and what was the dog's name? Tig. Buster Brown and Tig. Okay. Anyway, I'm dating myself. What? Only Rabbi Rosenzweig knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, Buster Brown and Tig. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, very, very little. Yeah. Buster Brown was a brother with Tom McCann. Now says the Rabbi. Masav Rami Bar Chama. Hakiteya. That's a person who's an amputee loyalenu. Yoitza b'kav shaloi. He goes out with his kav. He has a prosthetic device on his leg. He goes out with that. Divrei Reb Meir. These are the words of Reb Meir. Reb Yosi Yoisa. Reb Yosi says this is a Shabbos to Gedin. It's asa. It's asa. Now, why is it asa? Guys, look at Rashi. Very important. Reb Yosi Yoiser. Kesal kedaitach. The base means kesal kedaitach. That the lav minalhu. Choyel ve'ena shava b'chol. Since it's not shava b'chol. Vafilu hachi shavin she'asa lotzis by b'yom kippurin. Al ma'afa gabdol Rabbi Yosi lav minalhu. Afilu hachi asa fu'udin l'shel sham. It's a gavaldig kasha. B'tani Allah b'shavim she'asa lotzis by b'yom kippurin. Guys, with our hezbollah, the Gemara is beautiful as anything. What's our hezbollah? That's something that's not a shoe you can wear in Yom Kippur, correct? Mm-hmm. It says over here, it's also to wear a kav. And even Reb Meir would say it's also to wear a kav, right? What's the reason Reb Yosi says you can't go out with it on Shabbos? Kasal kedaitach, it's not a kli. Kasal kedaitach, it's not a shoe. And they both say in Yom Kippur you can't wear it. So what do you see? Something that's not a shoe still can be asa. So why did you permit to go out with a sandal shel sham with that whole lumdus that it's not a shoe? You see, not a shoe also you can't go out with because a kav, the havamina, the kav is not a shoe. Very good shmak with the hezbollah that we had. Very good shmak. It says the Gemara, and for the Gemara, Amra Abaya, Hasam the Ispek Sisin, Umishim Tanug. You know why you can't go out with it? Not like you thought because it's not a shoe. It's al tanug. In other words, you would put cloth pieces in and wear it, so that would be a tanug. That would be something very, very comfortable, and that's the reason. But in achinami, al not being a shoe, it would be mutter. But here it's al ksisin. Amlay Rava. Lav manahu ksisim mashvalei. 1 second. And if it's not a mana, if you hold it, it's not a shoe. Ksisim makes it into a shoe. Mashvalei mana v'oid kol tanig lav minalhu b'yom kippur miyasa. Right? Any tanuk the lav minalhu b'yom kippur miyasa. If it's not a minal, what's the issue of having hana from some cotton or cloth? Absorbing the pressure on an amputee. Says the Gemara, even if he would go out, and we don't worry about Tanakh there. So two reasons. One, Ksisin, if it's not a mana, Ksisin, if it's not a mana, Ksisin can't make it into a mana. If it's not a mana, Ksisin can't make it into a mana. And in addition, whatever Tanakh you do have is not a problem. And a third problem, right? In the introduction, after the Machlokas in Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Meir, it says, then it will be considered a kli and it's makabel tama. And since we introduced ksisin in the reisha, in the seifa, nachlal, we can infer the reisha labedis like ksisin askinan is not. So back, it must be that the reisha is not talking about it. So back to the original question, right? Why, if it's asa, if it's not a minal, why is it asa? It must be that why, even though it's not a minal, it's asa. So how can you go out with the sandal shel sham? Everyone says that what it's a minal. Everyone says it's a minal, and therefore on Yom Kippur it's asa. Guys, everyone says the prosthetic is a shoe, and since it's a shoe, really on Yom Kippur you can't wear it. Shabbos, what's the machlokes Rabbi that says you could go out when and Rabbi says you can't? Shabbos b'ha pligi. Masava gazrin and dilma mishasmit v'asilasuye. Maybe it'll slip off and you'll come to carry it. It has nothing whatsoever to do with Taurus. Again, guys, nachamo. Kasal kedaitach. When learning, and Rashi says kasal kedaitach, you have to be able to answer. And what changed? And something changed. In the Havamina, it wasn't a shoe, and therefore you couldn't wear it on what? On Yom Kippur. Good. Therefore, you couldn't wear it. Therefore, we had a problem. Therefore, if it's not a shoe and you couldn't wear it on Yom Kippur, we have a problem. How in the world could you go ahead and use a sandal made from some type of material from Sham? That was our problem. The answer is this shoe. So, guys, once you answered it is a shoe, then we don't have a kasha anymore from Sham because Sham is not a shoe. So the reason I can't wear a prosthetic device on Yom Kippur is why it's a shoe. Why can't I wear a sha'am? Because it isn't a shoe. So therefore, now let's explain. Now that you answered up the attack on our Gemara, let's learn pshat in the etzem machlokus between Reb Meir and Rabbi Yossi. Why by Shabbos does Reb Meir say you could go out with it, and why does Rabbi Yossi say you can't go out with it? And the answer is it's a gezerah. What? It may fall off, and Rabbi Yossi's concerns if it fall off, you may come to carry it for amis, and therefore it's asa. Masha Ein Kain, Reb Meir says, no, I'm not worried, and therefore it's mutter. And now, so we explained the machloikis in Shabbos, and we explained over here by it's asa, over here by Yom Kippur, why you can't wear it, and we explained why it's not an attack on a Gemara in Yoma, why a sandal shel sham would be permitted, because what? This Haitian is kind shoe, it's not a minnow. How are we doing? Call the clear? Wait, Baruch Hashem. Tinoikis mutarim b'kulan. A tinoikis is muta b'kulan, chutz milas a sandal. Everything we mentioned above, rechitza, sicha, achila, all these things he's able to, you can do. Except shoes. A kid can't wear shoes. Every child should be wearing sneakers. Maishna neilas a sandal. What's the reason a sandal not? The army and people will say, of the lehanach, that they just, and he just put it on him. In other words, there's an isser to go ahead for an adult to go ahead and to feed a sheretz, for example, to his son. So it's not like sachlum. We read it, you can't go ahead and feed it to him. You're not able to go ahead and feed it to him. It's asa. So you can't, if your kid's going to walk in shoes and Shabbos with shoes, you're going to say, look, his father went ahead and put him on. He's not going to do that. Says Gemara. What? Hanach nami army inshi of delay. They're going to say what? That men also did that. It says merachitza v'sicha omar me'et malav delay. Merachitza v'sicha, they're going to say they did from yesterday. Achila doesn't have to be a shayla. I mean, there's no din of fasting by God. There's no din of inui. There's no din of there's nothing wrong with that. That to feed the child. What? Because again, he's what we can keep, you can keep. What you can keep, you can't keep. What you can't keep, you can't keep. You can not eat. So rechitzu si emameyat malav delay. Sandal nami emameyat malav delay. Sandal liyefsha demeyat malav delay. It's not possible that he put the shoes on the night before. Shmuel, Haiman the boy lemitim tam the mesusa. If you want to feel the time of death, guys, the sayim misane elignate. Go lie down with your shoes and sleep with your shoes on. Okay, don't try this at home. Says the Gemara, "V'hamu tarim lechatchila katani." It's mashma mutarim lechila, mashma on Yom Kippur, right? In other words, your teretz not going to teretz. It's mashma. You don't have to do it the night before. You can do it on Yom Kippur. Elahanach the lavri v'sayu. Those that are not for the child's development goes with rabbanon. Hanach the v'sayu hu goes with rabbanon. This answers your kasha. By wearing shoes, there's nothing to do with the child's development whatsoever, right? V'chitza, we're going to see is not good for it's not good not to wash the child. Sikha, it's not good to go ahead and anoint the child. Certainly not to feed the child would be good. So that was the chiluk between what food and shoes. Rabbi, aim. Remember, Rabbi was raised by his nanny. Rabbi was a yasim, right? Rabbi was a yasim. Revisa di Yanuka Mayim Chamima Umashcha. When you develop the child, you should wash the child umashcha and anoint with oil. We got a Gemara that a certain Amoira who anointed his daughter with oil, and when it came to a shidduch, he got a lot of money for her. You remember that? There was such a Gemara. He went ahead and he anointed his daughter with a lot of oil, and she got a good price for her. Okay.
Give her rosy hue.
I don't talk to blank faces. So if you want to talk, you have to show yourself. I have 6 squares over here, and you're the only one not showing yourself. Yeah. Oh, you're Charles Nelson Riley. Anyway, says the Gemara. Gadol Porta, he grows up a little bit. You give him an egg in Kutach. Kidel Porta, he grows up a little more. Tiburi Mane. Let him go ahead and break Kalim. This is interesting. Yeah, right. I know. Rashi says Tiburi Kalim. Why would they go ahead and break Kalim? Guys, look at Rashi. Tiburi Kalim is where are they? Lahafka Kalim l'shaber. You be mafka Kalim to break. L'malis tavasa into fill his taiva. No, this is the get rid of the little right get what? Yeah, the kids like to break things. So again, you let them break things.
There's room in the city. You can do break things.
Yeah, the break room.
Computer is this.
Yosef. You can blame things. Kihod the Rabba Zavanle Mane Gazizi the Parcha B'nei. He brought the kalim of glass and parcha is earthenware for his kids and mafilo when they break. So it seems to be good chinuch. So you see over here the bottom line rechitza, washing and anointing with shemen is for the kids' growth. So it had nothing to do with what people are going to say. Well, mashenkin shoes is nothing to do with the kids' growth. Therefore, you should go ahead and put them on. He said, "Amelch v'akala yichotzos pneim." The melch v'akala, they wash their faces. Mastisa money. Who's the Tana? Mishnah is Rachnina ben Shradini. The Tanya Hamelch v'akala la yichotzos pneim. You shouldn't wash them. Rachnina ben Shradini. Mishum Rebbe Loza. The name Rebbe Eliezer. Hamelch v'akala yichotzos pneim. Achaya leisinos a sandal. A woman who gave birth, you should not go ahead and put on shoes. And Rachnina ben Shradini. Mishum Rebbe Eliezer. Achaya hantinol les a sandal. My timer. What's the reason? Melech mishum nechsiv melech biyafif tachserinach. It's a melech has to be seen in his beauty. Melech has to be seen in his beauty. He has to be like Michal got angry at David for taking off the big day melucha and dancing. She felt it was like leilafich vayday. And kala my timer kadesh tzon al baila. She shouldn't be miskan al baila. She has to look for a husband. So it's for 30 days. Amalu Ravler Chia kala kama samalei kidatanya. The first 30 days, you're not going to look. Achaya tilas a sandal, mishum tzina. What are you worried about? Cold. So it's not good for put in sakana. Amashmul, machmas sakana akrav mutta. If you're worried about akrav mutta, this is for everybody, not for anybody. If you got a problem with scorpions, then it's mutta to put on sandal. Okay, we'll stop over here.
Thank you.
In the story with the Chavetz Chaim, that gets